Some form of control still, making our constant binary choices and voicing our equally shallow opinions more loudly or quietly. Most people can't even decide what color to wear or which burger to eat. What does it matter, man? Autonomy is an illusion. Autonomy is an illusion. Most people can't even decide what color to wear or which burger to eat. What the does it matter, man? Autonomy is an illusion.
Autonomy is an illusion, he says. Hello. Welcome to the show. I've got some things lined up for today. Before we get started, I'm gonna make a few announcements. My views have absolutely exploded. I've reached more subscribers and views than I've ever gotten, so that's awesome. Thank you. And if you want to help the channel out at all, I've got a PayPal linked in the description. And that'd be awesome if you want to donate to that. It's a good cause. I'm the cause. We got some news lined up for today, but it's mostly just reactions. And I'm going to do a couple just regular non-gaming reactions at the end. And I'm not going to do gaming in this stream. I'm going to separate the gaming from the Fables Folly show. And I'm probably going to do that later in the day and do just game streaming. But without further ado, let's get started. I gotta turn this music off. So this is a video that's... Oh, I better switch my stream. There we go. This video I wanted to watch a few weeks ago, never got around to it, completely forgot about it, and it just re-entered my timeline, or whatever you call it on YouTube. The Pussification of Video Games by Andy Pants Gaming. Despite LGBTQI and symbol 6 asterisks, is that an asterisk? Yeah. Star symbol, whatever. Being only 3% of the population, they are taking over video games. Why, you ask? Because publishers seem to hate money and want to lose all of it. I agree. I agree.
Today, I want to talk about the great pussification of video games that has happened the past 20 years. Is it a soy-based diet doing this? Is it the rise of OnlyFans simping doing this? If you have recently had the thought, I wonder what new pumpkin-flavored items Trader Joe's has, be careful, my brother in Christ, you might be gay now.
Whoa,
but if there's one
I don't
thing
want to
that
be
is
gay.
straight as hell, it's the rock-solid video games of the 2000s.
True.
Your Gears of War, your Medals of Honor, your Chronicles of Riddick's. These games were masculine as hell, and we want them back, and we're boycotting video games until they come back. I recently saw this disappointing photo of Phil Spencer being pushed out of the photo by two domineering girl bosses who are probably
I'm not boycotting video games, I'm just not playing video games that I don't want to play, which is most of them nowadays.
Unfulfilled because they're trying to succeed in the corporate world instead of having children at home like God designed them to. And don't you love Phil's cute little Doom shirt like, hey guys, I'm still one of the bros, right? Look, like, we can still hang, right? Nah, Phil, you're trash. You got cucked, dude. You're useless.
Yeah, that and the Hexen shirt that he likes to wear, I see everywhere. Nobody knows what Hexen is. It sounds like a puzzle game. I know what Hexen is. It's not a puzzle game.
So I have found that there are still people out there who deny the simple fact that games have gone woke, homo, and gay in 2024. So in this video, I'm going to literally prove it to you using science. What we will do is read the back of the box description of 6 random games from 2024.
Box. What's a box? Video games used to come in boxes? Why? Didn't you just have to buy them on your computer and they're just there?
And then we will read the back of the box descriptions of 6 random games from the 2000s. And if what I'm saying is true, we should notice a feminization, a pussification, a gayification of video games that has happened the past 20 years. And before you bring up that video games don't have boxes anymore in 2024, calm your tits, you know what I mean. So to find 6 modern games, I didn't have to look very far. I literally just went to the front page of Xbox Game Pass and found these games. This is clearly what Phil and his team of homos actually expects us men to play.
I like this guy's attitude. I feel like me and him would be friends.
Here they are. Creatures of Ava, Dungeons of Hinterberg, Flintlock Siege of Dawn, Flock, Magical Delicacy, and Chia.
They all look so gay. They don't look like games that I would be playing. They look like they were made by the weird girl in class.
Now you might say, oh, Andrew, you're specifically picking out games aimed at children. No, dude, I'm literally just going to the front page of Game Pass, and these are 6 games featured on the front page of Game Pass. Also, side note, isn't it weird that these pedo developers are always making games aimed at kids? But that's a whole other thing I'm not going to get into right now. All right, so what games from the 2000s should we compare these with? These are 6 kind of random games that I just happened to pull off the shelf without thinking too much about it. They are Brothers in Arms Road to Hill 30, Ride to Hell Retribution, Modern Warfare 2, Dark Sector, Deus Ex Human Revolution, Chronicles of Riddick, Assault on Dark Athena.
This game right here, this one, this Ride to Hell Retribution, amazing game, amazing, 10 out of 10. I'm just kidding, don't. It's not worth it.
All I'm going to do here is read the descriptions and we will compare. 2024 Creatures of Ava. Let your empathy guide you as you play an exciting action adventure.
That sounds super exciting. Super exciting.
Creature saver game. Understand and tame the creatures of Ava and let them lead you through a variety of ecosystems, all in the hopes of saving the planet from a life-consuming infection. I also
Sounds like Pokemon, but gayer.
found out that the 2 main characters of this game are, of course, homosexual black women because, 2024. Let your empathy guide you? Like, what the hell? I don't play video games to let my empathy guide me in, ooh, I want to be gay and collect creatures and, like, this game just sounds retarded, let's be honest. So now let's compare this with a game from 20 years ago. 2005, Brothers in Arms Road to Hill 30. The back of the box says this: they would sacrifice everything except each other. Like, damn, dude, just grabs you by the balls. Like, that is the back of a box. I'm like, okay, I'm interested now. That is a dope intro for a back of the box. It goes on, the night before D-Day, 1944, the paratroopers of the 101st Airborne Division are dropped into Normandy and scattered behind enemy lines. As Sergeant Matt Baker...
I was playing Brothers in Arms before I even knew what Call of Duty was. And Medal of Honor. I was playing Medal of Honor also. Medal of Honor was my shit back in the day.
Lead your squad through 8 harrowing days that will define history and unite you forever as Brothers in Arms. Like, bro, like the balls of these games description. I have to go play this game now. See, this is what's honestly missing from the 2024 homo trash. Like,
this game looks really good too. I want to play this. I have it.
Nothing is good anymore. Nothing grabs us. This is why video games profits are down. And they've completely quit catering to their base market of men. Next game, 2024 Dungeons of Hinterberg. Armed with a sword.
It's not even that they're missing their target audience, because they could totally make these games gay if they want. The problem is that they're not good. The writing sucks. Everything's terrible. And everything is about the fact that the character is gay and the world is gay. And hey, is this the same game that he was just showing, or is this a different game? That's definitely a different character, but the graphics look the same. I see like 30 of these gay games all having the same weird cel-shaded graphics. What do you call it with the dots?
In a tourist guide, explore the beautiful alpine village of Hinterberg and uncover the
This looks like the same game.
hidden within its dungeons. Master magic, solve puzzles, slay monsters. All this and more awaits you in Hinterberg. Like, okay, I like swords, but based on the game's art style, I know within the first 5 minutes, we're meeting somebody's non-binary boyfriend. Like, nah,
exactly.
Dude, I'm good. Now compare this with the 2013 masterpiece, Ride to Hell Retribution. Back of the box says this: 2 fists, 2...
I can't believe this game came out in 2013. I remember when it came out. I was on YouTube. I was in the YouTube community talking about this. Watching videos. Watching reactions. Not much has changed.
Wheels, no rules. Now, it's a little cheesy, but I already know one thing. This game has balls, but it gets better.
I would way much rather play this game than those other 2 that he mentioned.
A lone rider, Jake Conway, locked in a battle to the death against a ruthless gang of bikers called the Devil's Hand. Okay, and you
That's
got
a
a
cool
hot chick
name.
on the back. Like, dude, I'm in. I want to play this game now.
Everybody did.
These 2024 games will be 3 sentences long and still can't grab my attention. And then with like one word, this 2013 game completely has me by the balls. Like, guys, it kind of makes me sad that America actually used to export like cool stuff to the world. And now it's just homo woke garbage that America is exporting. Like, I know you dudes in Europe know what I'm talking about. Like, America used to export, you know, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, the Stallone movies. Like,
People used to want to be America. People used to want to come to America. They would dream to be in America. Now they don't have to dream because they're just let in.
all of the awesome stuff of the 80s and 90s, and look at like
And
the
2000s,
homo
man.
trash garbage that America is.
Like, movies, shows, and cartoons in the early 2000s were killing it. I think the best of all time. Especially the cartoons. The cartoons, there was just nothing like the late 90s and early 2000s. And there would be nothing like it again.
Exporting today, and it's such a shame. Next game, 2024 Flintlock Siege of Dawn. Step into the boots of Nor Van Anik, an elite member of the Coalition Army, joined by Inky, a mysterious fox-like companion, in their quest for vengeance against the gods. Guided by Inky, who shares his knowledge of the world with you, your combat skills and traversal abilities will be imbued with this magical powers, making you a duo to be reckoned with. Like, nah, dude, it just sounds gay. It sounds...
I don't know if that one really sounded that gay. It just sounded lame and generic and kind of gay. Because lame and generic is gay.
Sounds queer. Why is every game like this now? It's always some magical nonsense that never sounds cool. It's like none of these developers beta tested any of these ideas with normal guys. I guarantee you get a bunch of straight dudes in a room.
And it's always the main character is oppressed by the leaders of the world or the gods in this case.
And they would tell you this idea was terrible. Oh, but the cherry on top, of course, is this. Black female lesbian girl boss as the main character. Like, F off, dude. I'm not playing. I think it's a woman. It might be a man. It might be a they, them. All right, jumping back to the 2000s. And I know this isn't fair to compare this game, but it just popped off my shelf. 2009 Modern Warfare 2. Back of the box says this. Modern Warfare 2 continues the gripping and heart-racing action as players face off against a new threat dedicated to bringing the world to the brink of collapse. Like, yes, dude, I want to know that new threat dedicated to bringing the world to the brink of collapse. Also,
yeah, now Call of Duty's only, what their back of the box would be like, we have 150,000 plus skins.
Also, if you had played Call of Duty before this, you're kind of already invested, so it's a great tagline. 2024 game, Flock. Flock is a multiplayer co-op game about the joy of flight and collecting adorable flying creatures with your friends. Soar through beautiful landscapes, seeking out rare and elusive creatures to add to your flock. Like, dude, this shit is gay. Like, this is either designed for a 5-year-old or it's designed for a 30-year-old gay man or it's designed for a woman. But none of those people are buying Xboxes. Like, Phil, you're retarded and your company's going to go out of business if you keep this.
I think they're banking on they're gonna switch to streaming and they're gonna push a lot of shovelware.
Up. All right, jumping back to the 2000s, this is a good one. Dark Sector 2008. Become the ultimate weapon. The virus.
I liked this game.
The source of your pain. Your enemy. Your power. Unleash the deadly power of the glaive and become the hero. Like,
it doesn't really hold up too well, but it was a good game back then. It didn't really hold up then.
Dude, that's the back of a box right there. Now I'm intrigued. Now I'm like, whoa, a virus? My power? What is the glaive? Like, what is this about? I want to become the ultimate weapon. Like, in the 2000s, games were made by straight dudes. And in 2020, games are made by mostly gay men and women. Like, it's that simple. Men, actual straight men, we want power. We want cool weapons. We want, deadly powers and glaives and becoming the ultimate weapon. That sounds cool.
What I hate is like, it's not even really straight. They're not even really straight men. They're non-sexualized. They're like, I don't know why a gay character has to be gay. Like, just have a gay guy play him, and then that be it. Don't mention it. Don't act like it. Just be.
Cool. But if you're a gay man or a woman or a child, none of which are people who actually play video games, then you want to collect adorable creatures. It really comes down to that.
I know a couple of gay guys who play video games, and they don't like all this nonsense because they recognize that it's just pandering.
That 2024 magical delicacy, and I've made fun of this game before. A wholesome pixel art platformer. Cook magical delicacies from a vast collection of ingredients in your own shop. Explore an unfamiliar town and deliver tasty treats to the townsfolk. Like, no, dude. What the fuck?
This one's a little bit of a stretch. This kind of looks cool. This kind of looks like a game I would play. I feel like he'd say Stardew Valley is gay.
No straight guy has ever thought, I want to deliver tasty treats to the townsfolk. That is something women would do, but that is not something a straight guy would be like, ooh, I want to deliver tasty treats. Jumping.
Yeah, if you say it like that, I'm starting to not like this guy now. I think he's going too far into the everything is gay.
Back to a classic from the 2000s.
Because I totally would. And be like, who wants some tasty treats? You want some tasty treats? I'll give you some tasty treats. You don't have to be like, oh, I got some tasty treats. No, it's like, you want some tasty treats? I got some tasty treats. You gotta sell that shit.
Deus Ex Human Revolution 2011. The big text says, the truth will change you. Like, damn, son, what truth? I have to know. What is being hidden from me? It goes on. Critically injured after a deadly attack, Adam Jensen undergoes a life-saving operation, augmenting him with powerful cybernetics. Caught in the middle of a vast conspiracy, Adam's choices will affect both himself and all of humanity as he seeks answers across the globe. Like, dude, I am rock hard right now. Like, I want to play this game. I don't want to play anything about collecting adorable creatures or delivering gay treats to people's houses. I want to play whatever Human Revolution is about. And it's funny because, like, I can't put my finger on exactly.
I'll play them both if it's good. If the gay game is good, I'll play it. But so far, I haven't played a single good gay game.
What made 2000s games so good, but it has something to do with men. We're dudes, and we want games about dudes, and we want games about male transformation.
That's not even true.
And a man who is
it's not even true.
Something who is actually a man. I can't really describe.
No, it's not even true. We just want good writing. We want good characters. We want good gameplay. That's it. We're simple beings. Those three, that's the magical formula for good game. Sometimes you don't even have to have all three.
Describe what made the 2000s games so good, other than that they're focused exclusively on the male psyche, because it was men playing the games. It's always been men playing the games. So as long as Sony and Xbox don't realize this obvious fact and keep designing games for 14-year-old girls, for women, and for gay men, I truly think Xbox...
Acting like 14-year-old girls don't play Gears of War, or didn't play Gears of War. I knew plenty of girls that did. It's just that they didn't own the video games themselves. It was usually their brothers that owned the video games. Probably because they wouldn't have been into the video games if not for their brother. Or their brothers being into them, and they were like, oh, this is cool. Because typically parents aren't going to get the cool stuff for their daughter. They're going to get the cute and pretty stuff. Me? I'm going to get my daughter the cool stuff.
Xbox is going to go out of business, and Sony will go out of business if they don't figure out who their audience is quickly.
Both of them.
2024 game, Chia, a tropical open world adventure.
It's got that look.
Take control of any animal or object you can find and jam on your fully playable ukulele.
It looks like a school created these graphics. but it's a gay game, so probably, yeah, school created these graphics.
Like, no, dude, this just sounds like some cozy garbage trash game. Like, if I wanted to, if I wanted to chill out and do nothing, I would just go do something besides play a video game. But when I play a video game, I want to have like an intense experience. I don't want to have some cozy trash experience. So my
That's
only
kinda
thinking
cool.
with this is that Xbox seems to think that their target is gay men, 5-year-olds, and women. But the super obvious fact, as I've said it again and again, is that their audience is full of 30-year-old dudes. So, like, at this point, I just think Xbox is probably going to go bankrupt because they keep putting stuff like this out.
No, they won't. They won't. They'll just do something else or sell Xbox. Microsoft will just sell Xbox to a different company if it before it actually goes under. If it starts costing them too much money, they'll just get rid of it. It's going the way of people aren't going to be buying consoles anymore anyway. I think that everything's going to go to streaming.
All right, and let's look at the final game here that I found from the 2000s. And it is called The Chronicles of Riddick: Assault on Dark Athena. You already know this box is about to go hard. At the top, it says in big letters, there is power in darkness. See, like men, we want power. We're all about powers.
That was a good game too.
Domination and conquering. Understand your audience, guys. Below that, it says a dark, intense shooter set in an epic sci-fi world. Like, this is all things we want. We want darkness, we want intensity, we want shooting, and we want sci-fi. Riddick brings the darkness with stealth, action, and brutal melee combat. And then for the first time, play as Riddick in multiplayer on System Link or online. Below that, it says, be Riddick, the most ruthless criminal in the universe. In his latest chronicle, Riddick has been captured by the Dark Athena, a mercenary ship hell-bent on eliminating him once and for all. Using his intense hand-to-hand combat skills, explosive firepower, and lethal stealth, Riddick must shut down maniacal Captain Ravos and her deadly crew when Riddick steps
I want to play
into
this
the
game again.
darkness. No one is safe. Like, dude, don't you want to play that game?
Yes.
Darkness, power, prison. These describe the kind of games that straight men want to play. And it's sad to see the video game industry completely bottoming out and completely dying right now because they're chasing audiences that don't exist. Gay men don't play your games. Kids don't play Xboxes. Women.
You want on a little bit of behind the scenes? It's because there's these weird organizations, these gay organizations, that are paying these companies to do all these things. Hundreds of thousands and even millions of dollars. Really, really rich companies that, you know, when you go to Walmart and you see all of the rainbow pride stuff that they don't really have anymore, but all that rainbow stuff is usually like a few companies that are gathering up their funds to pay off companies like Microsoft and Xbox. I'm not saying that Xbox themselves is doing this, but with the games, like the game companies that are under Xbox, definitely doing this. Like Sweet Baby Inc. and what's that other one called? Starts with an E. Embracer. They all pay people off to make gay games. I think Embracer was getting paid off by Sweet Baby Inc. I don't think that Embracer was doing the paying off, but they're gay. And I'm pretty sure they have Borderlands right now.
Don't play Xboxes. Phil Spencer and PlayStation and all these companies need to wake up and freaking realize that straight dudes are playing these games and they need to be making games for us. So developers, if you are listening, give us manly games. Give us power. Give us darkness. Give us violence. Give us brawny buff dudes who beat the crap out of people with our sick powers. And if y'all do this, if y'all quit being pussies, if y'all quit pussifying the game industry and actually give us manly games, we will buy games again.
True.
But the video game industry, the video game economy is going to keep crashing until y'all give people what they want. It's so simple. I'm out of here.
That was a pretty good video. He stretched too hard a little bit in a couple of areas, but I get it. Like, people are tired of all these games. They suck. and I'm not gonna play any of them. Might play some of them. Some of them are kind of fun, like My Time at Porsche or whatever. That one's pretty fun, and it looks like these gay games. Not saying that one's a gay game. It just looks like it. Good game. I just want old games back. I just want the old style of games back. All right. What's next on our agenda? Let's go with Bethesda admits defeat. This guy got 60,000 views and he's only got like 3,000 something subscribers. He's only got a little bit more than me. Man, that'd be crazy if I got 60,000 views on something out of nowhere.
So there's been an article making its way around the internet entitled The Elder Scrolls 6, Bethesda Expects Dissatisfied Players.
I've been seeing that, and I'm expecting to be dissatisfied, and I'm not getting it. I haven't got the like last 3 or 4 Bethesda games. I got Fallout 4 when it was complete. I didn't get it before then. And I'm probably, if Bethesda keeps going the way of Fallout 4, not gonna buy a single one ever again, or Starfield. Because all of the anti-modding community stuff, when that's what made Bethesda, and I think that's what's killing Bethesda, is their anti-modding, or their pro-hour mods, Bethesda mods. Garbage.
Well, that's the translation anyway. It was originally written in German, and I've put the article in the description, but assuming that the translation is correct, there's a few key things that we can take away. It says, after there were already upsets among the fans at the release of Starfield, Bethesda firmly expects the fans to grumble here as well. According to Bruce Nesmith, the lead designer, it's nearly impossible to meet the expectations of the fans. He also sees Bethesda here a little in a trap that Valve has also been in. The studio had a good run for 20 years with the Elder Scrolls and Fallout, and preserving that run is not easy.
They made one good Fallout game. It was Fallout 3. Fallout New Vegas they didn't make, and Fallout 4. Some of it was good.
Only a few studios like Rockstar Games can do this, while Valve don't even try. The fans who want to buy The Elder Scrolls 6 will hardly be able to meet their expectations, Nesmith said. And
especially when they're going to have like exclusive content at launch if you pre-order it, and it's also going to have a deluxe edition that's going to cost probably $150 by then. It comes out in a couple of years.
The marketing departments are putting their heads in their hands and crying over it, because it's like, okay, if it's not perfect, if it doesn't get a 95 plus on Metacritic, we're a failure. Nesmith, who was involved in Daggerfall,
and it's not gonna, and people are gonna hate it. You need to scale it back and go back to Oblivion with, it doesn't even have to be that pretty. It just has to be good. Like, change the graphics, the engine. Just change the fucking engine. Like, we've been saying this for how long? Since New Vegas, pretty much, we've been saying it. Like, the creation engine, garbage. Get rid of it. Use Unreal, because you can't fucking handle it. You're gonna destroy your company because you won't change your engine.
Oblivion, Fallout went on to say, The Elder Scrolls 6 will undoubtedly be a great game, but it will be compared to the previous games
it won't be.
Bethesda.
No, it will not be a great game. I'm calling it now, that it's gonna be absolute shit. It's gonna be boring. Probably mostly boring. The boring thing is gonna be the worst thing.
About the Metacritic rating thing, by the way, being a minimum of 95. Skyrim is at 96, but Morrowind, Oblivion, Fallout 3 and 4 are all below that. Is he saying that those games were failures too? Seems like a crazy standard to set. I mean, I'm pretty sure less than 1% of top games get 95 or above. You can't please everyone. Not sure why that was mentioned. Or
yeah, and if they hit that 95 threshold, then there won't be that'll kill their company because they won't ever be able to make a good game again.
But essentially, if true, this article shows that Bethesda are feeling the pressure. Weighed down by their own past success, they're anxious about trying to replicate the success of their past entries. I don't have intel on Bethesda's mindset, but when reading these quotes from Nesmith, it looks like he's already resigned to defeat. He's already begun the process of trying to lower expectations by giving out these quotes, almost suggesting that Bethesda days are numbered and their best days are already behind them. In this video, I'm going to discuss why this mentality is wrong, and I'm going to offer them a solution. Yeah, me, a random guy on the internet. I'm sure they'll be absolutely made up. But let's get into it, and if you're watching this video, you might be able to help. Quick side note, thanks for all your support as always. I'm Av Gaming and I do video game analysis, so please consider subscribing. Also, if you enjoy the video, please give it the thumbs up. Let's get straight into the video. So Bethesda are already starting to lower expectations, already conceding defeat that they don't expect the game to reach expectations. After the recent releases, they feel that they can no longer reach the heights that they once did. But why? I think a lot of this has to do with the pain that they suffered from Starfield's reaction. I think they generally thought they were going to get glowing appraisals, and this reaction shook them up. Now, Nesmith is suggesting that it's just because
I thought it was going to be No Man's Sky with quests. It ended up being lesser Fallout with different areas rather than like a whole open map with nothing in it. I barely played that game. It was boring. I fell asleep playing it. And not like I would fall asleep playing Skyrim. I fall asleep playing Skyrim because I've been playing for 12 hours and I just start walking into a wall.
Already peaked, but I think it's something else. Let's go back in time and cover Bethesda's track record starting at The Elder Scrolls. The game released in 1994 and it sold 3,000 copies. So this wasn't the game that made them. Daggerfall released in 96 and it sold 120,000 copies. The game reviewed well and it indicated that they were
I just want you to know, Daggerfall is not a good game. I mean, maybe back then, but you try and play it now, oh boy, it desperately needs a remake.
On the upward trajectory. Then in 2002, Morrowind arrived. It sold 4 million copies and received stellar reviews. It captured the true open world RPG feeling, and still to this day, it has a strong fanbase. This game catapulted Bethesda up to another level. The game had a great foundation, but it looked a little limited in terms of visuals. It had very little voice acting, things like that. Oblivion released in 2006 and it sold 9.5 million copies. Now, some would argue that it lacked some things from the previous game, but you cannot deny it was more polished.
I think Oblivion is the best game that Bethesda has ever made. That they've ever made. Fallout New Vegas is the best Bethesda game, but they didn't make it.
It looked better, it sounded better, its user interface was more friendly, it was designed more for the casual player, whereas Morrowind required dedication. Either way, it scored well and it sold better. Bethesda at this point were a well-known brand. After acquiring the Fallout franchise, Bethesda released Fallout 3 in 2008, and it sold 12.4 million copies. It scored very well as well. Bethesda had shown that they could make great RPGs not just in the Elder Scrolls universe, but also in other worlds like Fallout, which used guns. Again, reviews are high,
and then they never tried another one again. Like seriously, they've got 2 games that they keep screwing up. When are they going to come up with something new? Oh wait, they tried. Starfield blew up in their faces. Wasn't new enough, I don't think.
The sales are higher than the last game. And of course, in 2011, we got Skyrim. This game sold 60 million copies, and it's considered to be one of the greatest video games of all time. It was even more user-friendly than Fallout 3 and Oblivion. Graphics had improved, the game was of a grander scale, and this was when Bethesda reached their peak. And then in 2015, they released Fallout 4, which sold 25 million copies and scored well across the board again. So, what we see is 2 things. Each game improved on the last. They each improved their graphics, the visuals, open world design, content they kept adding each time, but the formula was always the same: a Bethesda game. A handcrafted open world game with hundreds of side quests and dungeons to explore. Each game was, at least technologically, a step up from the previous. Now, this is important though. Notice I said handcrafted open world.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Bethesda is working on last gen games still. And that's been their problem for a while. They've been behind because they're doing too much that doesn't matter.
Handcrafted
And they're
side
not
quests,
outsourcing.
handcrafted dungeons to explore, each slightly improved more than the last game. Now we can argue that Morrowind had more RPG elements than the previous ones, or Oblivion had better writing, but no matter what, the game stayed consistent and improved overall, at least as far as the performance goes and graphics. Open world, handcrafted. This was Bethesda. You knew what to expect from a Bethesda game. An offline open world RPG where your curiosity would be rewarded.
Plus mods. User mods. Not Bethesda mods.
No matter where you went on the map.
Eventually they ruined it. Nobody's playing Skyrim anymore because of this. Nah, that's not true. But people are very, very upset about playing it.
No matter what dungeon you went inside, it was handcrafted and unique to anything else you'd seen. And then in 2019, we got Fallout 76, and it sold 1.4 million copies. Whoa.
How many did it refund immediately after, though?
So, what about the reviews? Oh. So, up until this point, every game had improved and sold more than the last. Is it these Bethesda fans again, with these too high expectations being too aggressive? Well, no. Bethesda changed. This game was online. It was an MMORPG.
They got greedy. They got really, really greedy. And I think it was because of Skyrim. I think they made a lot of money from Oblivion, spent it all on Skyrim, and didn't make enough back initially. So they were just... Maybe. I don't know. Because they had a lot of DLC. People bought all that DLC. I don't know. I don't get it. I really don't. Did they pour too much money into Fallout 76? What did they do? What did they do to screw everything up? Like, why did they get so greedy? Because it started with the mods. The first thing was the paid mods. And then Fallout 76 came out. Actually, I think Elder Scrolls Online came out before that, didn't it? People were upset about that.
Had a bad launch, but overall, they managed to turn it around. It was not what we expect from a Bethesda game. I've done a video on it if you want more details, but generally speaking, this online game with repetitive daily quests, events, and microtransactions is not the same formula. They'd moved away from the formula that had worked in the past, and now they'd changed it. It wasn't the same.
Yeah, you know how you get the armor skins in Fallout 4? I think that in the next Fallout, you're gonna have to pay for those. You might get like 4. You might get 4 armor skins, but they've got 200 in the Bethesda store.
And then we got Starfield.
They're gonna have the Fallout 76 store in their single player Fallout game. I guarantee it.
We all got excited. A giant open space game with Bethesda formula. It's not online. It sounds awesome. But it wasn't the Bethesda formula. There was no handcrafted map. It was all procedurally generated. Dungeons were no longer hand-placed, and instead, the game procedurally put them on planets and drew from a bank of previously built dungeons. So, just to reiterate, in every Bethesda game, from Morrowind to Fallout 4, each dungeon was handcrafted and unique. It was never a waste of time to go inside an unexplored location because you were guaranteed to see something different in some way. Starfield broke this rule. On one planet, you would enter Dungeon A, go to the next planet, and you might get Dungeon A as well. And this happened a lot, meaning that there were very limited dungeons designed to cover 1,000 planets. This was not the formula that we knew from Bethesda. Quests were radiant, had no depth, and exploration did not guarantee unique experiences, which meant we lost the desire to explore.
I think they when what's it called, Outer Worlds? I think when that game, or Outer World, I think it's Outer Worlds. When that game released, they were like, "Oh shit." They did some things. They might have a better multi-planet Fallout game than us. We're going to have to No Man's Sky this shit. And it ruined it. Made it boring. No Man's Sky is better than Starfield. Like, how?
As we felt our time may be wasted. I've done a whole video on this and I'll put it in the description, but my main point I'm trying to make is that they did not follow the Bethesda formula. So, quick recap. Bethesda released games with the same formula of open world handcrafted content. Each release, they improve visually and performance-wise. Every game reviews well and sells better than the previous. And then suddenly, Bethesda changed their whole formula, fans don't like it, and now Bethesda say, fans expect too much? My point is, Bethesda, go back to what you do. All you did was improve each game over time but stuck to the same formula. This switch that started with Fallout 76 hasn't worked, and
It didn't start at Fallout 76. It started with Elder Scrolls Online.
if they decide that Elder Scrolls 6 will be online like 76 or procedurally generated content like Starfield, it's gonna end badly. I'm all for creativity and trying something different, but you have to give your fans what they want as well. Bethesda built one of the biggest fan bases with their formula, and when they turn their back on that method that's worked before, we don't know what these games are anymore.
I know what they are. They're pits to generate money.
A lot of people like Fallout 3 and 4, but they dislike 76 a lot. It's like a lot of people love Skyrim and Oblivion, but they dislike Starfield, because they identified with Bethesda games and their model, the one that I've just explained. That's the type of game that they love. When you change it completely on them, they don't identify with that game. This is the main reason Bethesda are struggling and their reputation has fallen. You don't have to release your best game ever, but it has to be what the fans expect. So, what do the fans want? If only there was some kind of example that they could use to get ideas from. Wait, what's this? A fan-made mod called Fallout London? What? It's the exact same model that I just explained? It was amazing? And what's this? Skyblivion? But how? Fan-made mod again?
Yeah, and Bethesda likes to ruin it by, oh, your big mod's about to release. We're gonna release one of our biggest updates ever.
But it's just Oblivion, but technologically improved. Will fans even want that?
Yes.
Excuse my sarcasm, but Bethesda need to know this. The fan dedication to the modding of Bethesda games is unreal. Fallout London is bigger than the whole base game.
Everybody's remaking games. They have so much potential to remake their old games. If they remade Daggerfall and left it exactly the same, holy shit, they'd make so much money off of doing hardly anything. Morrowind, and they're letting these modders do it, and then you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna be like, oh shit, they're outdoing us. Shut them down.
Fallout 4 and its DLC combined. 3,764 cells to cover all of 15 unique boroughs, each with own aesthetics and vibes. 337 interiors to view, over 200 side quests. I've done a whole video on this too if you want to check it out, but it's literally a huge fan-made mod done for free, just for the passion of the game. And it follows the Bethesda model that I was just referring to. Same with Skyblivion. It's the entirety of the Oblivion game, just moved into an upgraded engine and brought up to today's standards. What I'm trying to say is this: if Bethesda need inspiration, ideas, or assistance, they don't need to look very far. It's right there. They are literally already doing the things Bethesda need to be doing. Whilst the fans build these giant game mods, which fans are loving, Bethesda are over there adding furniture to sell on Fallout 76 from microtransactions. How did so much change?
Not to mention the Creation Club for Fallout 4 and Skyrim.
Did the fans now become the ones who make the Bethesda games, and Bethesda now are off making something completely different? But my point is this. Whilst Bruce Nesmith says he's worried fans won't like it, just bloody ask them. They're right there. Just ask these modders for advice. Ask your fans what they want in Elder Scrolls 6. Take a poll and analyse feedback. After receiving negative feedback on Starfield, Bethesda replied to each fan arguing, saying that the fans were wrong and they weren't enjoying the game properly.
That's the
What
problem.
are you doing? The fans are literally leaving constructive criticism that you can learn from. Whilst you argue...
The fans are wrong. The customer is always wrong in this case for Bethesda. That's what they're saying. The customers are wrong, but they're not buying your games and they're giving them low reviews. So they must be wrong.
With the fans and sulk about Starfield's negative
That's gonna get them to buy it.
They're literally telling you how to fix it. If you want to ensure Elder Scrolls 6 is successful, just look at the fan feedback and suggestions. That's the key. Don't just fight them. Now, the last thing I want to touch on.
At least they're not calling their fans racist, unless they are. Most companies nowadays just say, you don't like my thing because you're racist.
Bethesda make games which are art. Art is supposed to be fun. You're supposed to be enjoying the creative process. I'm sure if you asked Todd Howard, he probably had a blast making the games of the past. He loved them. But recently, Bethesda and people like Bruce Nesmith are giving the vibe of unhappiness. This interview honestly sounds like they're dreading it. I don't know what's happened over at Bethesda, but with their growth and success, it seems like they've lost their love for gaming and creating their games. They seem to be speaking in terms of deadlines, tick boxes, or corporate policy. They've grown a lot since the old days, but they need to look inside and find that love for gaming again. If they don't find it, then I suspect it will reflect in the Elder Scrolls 6 when it finally comes out.
I don't even think that they're really all that greedy. I just think they're panicking for money. I think they think that it takes so much money to make a video game, which it doesn't. The more money you put into a project, people talk about this all the time. Like Kevin Smith was just talking about it on Theo Vaughn's podcast, that the more money you put into a project, the more it's, what do you call it? It's cost at scale or something like that. Everything starts falling apart. Too much for one person to manage, and then you have to get more and more people, and then you lose what you lose the thing that you were making. You lose the heart and soul of it because there's like bureaucracy making this game now. It takes like 10 people to make a blade of grass.
Rather than feeling the pressure of the fans' expectations, just focus on enjoying the process, just like you did with the previous games that you made when you were successful. Don't worry about meeting expectations, just focus on making the best game possible, something that you'd be proud of. So in summary, my suggestion to Bethesda would be to return to their blueprint of handcrafted open worlds and pick up where they left off before they started veering away. Listen to the fans carefully, taking in constructive feedback, and maybe work with some of these creative modders, as the fans will show you the way to make the perfect Elder Scrolls 6. And finally, try to find the love in game development again. Make it a fun project. I know there's a lot of pressure after Skyrim, but you're Bethesda. You set the standards before. You made Skyrim, for goodness sake. Remember who you are and just focus on making a good game. Nobody really expects it to be as good as Skyrim. At this point, we just want Bethesda to make a Bethesda game again. Anyway, that's it for this one. I mean, what do you guys think? Can Bethesda turn it around?
No.
Do you think that I'm in the right, or am I way off? And in the off chance that Bethesda are watching this video, then leave a comment on what you want to see in the Elder Scrolls 6. If you enjoyed the video, then please consider giving it a like, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I'm Av Gaming, where we do video game analysis, identifying what makes great games great, and what could make good games great as well. Thanks for watching. Av out.
It's a good video. It's a good video. Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. I would go a little bit more extreme with it. But, yeah. Bethesda got greedy. That's what happened. And then they're getting money panicked because they think that things cost way more than they actually do. And that's what happens. When you start spending too much money on a single game and adding too many people to it, you lose the heart and soul, man. All right, moving on to the next topic. What do we got here? What do we got here? Let's do two more. Let's do two more videos. Microsoft completely confused. The new Xbox problem.
Is it true that Microsoft's own employees are turning on Xbox? What's up, y'all? I'm Ray, and this is my channel,
What's up,
Xbox Ready, where we get together and talk Xbox stuff, the latest news, rumors, pretty much anything I want to talk about as long as it's about Xbox in some way. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about a couple of things, the first of which being some confusion going on internally at Microsoft over the direction that they are taking Xbox. Now, in the year 2024, Xbox has made a lot of decisions that have raised some eyebrows, have drawn a lot of criticism, putting their games onto other people's hardware, shutting down beloved studios, firing a bunch of people, raising the price of Game Pass, and changing what's included in what tier. It's a shame because in this same year, yes, we've gotten a lot of bad news.
Destroying their biggest franchises of all time by doing nothing with them, basically.
But they also had a killer showcase that hyped old and new fans up, that made them excited about the future of Xbox. If only they could do a showcase every week. If you're out there feeling confused, apparently rumor has it that you are not alone. Microsoft own employees are also confused as well, at least according to Extasis, a YouTuber, journalist, insider, leaker. Extasis recently put out a video talking about these strategy shifts, these different changes that we're seeing at Xbox. He talks about some other stuff too in this video, what he's heard about the Switch 2, how there's going to be two different models, but obviously we're going to be focusing on the Xbox stuff, of course. It's actually a great watch. I really like his presentation style, so if you want to look him up, it's Extasis with the I is a 1 instead. He's otherwise known as the fake Xbox insider. In the video, he alleges that he's talked to several Microsoft employees and that the majority of them are generally just confused on the direction of the company. He put out this tweet.
They probably asked an AI what they should do with their company because they're failing.
To basically promote.
Probably an AI that they built.
The video where he says gran confusión dentro de Xbox. Yes, Extasis is a Spanish-speaking content creator, and if you don't understand Spanish, if you are not fluent yourself, don't worry, people have already translated what his tweet means. He says, according to several Xbox employees, the internal situation is quite complex between the layoffs and changes they have made in recent months. Most employees I have spoken to are completely confused about Xbox's overall strategy. The recent layoffs at Xbox and Activision have even impacted the Call of Duty and Warzone mobile teams, who have not met revenue expectations. The company's new goal is clear: move its subscriber numbers on Game Pass and consoles, which are currently stagnant. Now, if you're sitting there wondering who this Extasis person is, we've talked about him previously on the channel before. He has a pretty decent track record of knowing what games are coming to Game Pass and when certain Xbox games are going to be released. He somehow managed to get pictures of the all-white digital Series X before anyone else, and he did accurately predict that they were going to show it off at the June showcase. But he also got me in a little bit of trouble because he came out with this whole story where he was like, yeah, I talked to these people at Game Science, or a developer at Game Science, and they said that there's no Xbox version because they can't optimize the game because of a memory leak issue. And then just a couple of days after that, a new story came out, a new rumor corroborated by The Verge and all sorts of really big news outlets saying that no, it's not because of a memory leak issue that there's no Black Myth Wukong on Xbox. It's because Black Myth is tied up in an exclusivity deal with PlayStation. He's obviously being very vague on who exactly he's talking to within the Microsoft organization. I can only speak to my personal experience as a content creator. I know a few people who work for Xbox, who work for Microsoft. When I first met them, our relationship was obviously professional, but as time has gone on, I really consider some of these.
I actually think that the exclusivity deal with Black Myth Wukong and PlayStation is probably going to be really, really good for Black Myth Wukong and whatever that company was that made Black Myth Wukong, because it's going to get popular again. Xbox players going to realize, oh, this is Game of the Year for last year. It's a year later. But this was Game of the Year. And then it's going to attract people on PC and PlayStation that didn't buy it yet. They're going to be like, oh, people are playing this game again. Or the people missed it and they're just going to try it out again. It's going to be good. It was a good game. I haven't played it, but plan to.
People I've met through being a content creator who work at Xbox, I would consider them to be friends, people that I would hit up and chat with and hang out with. But even with that feeling, there is no way in hell that I would be talking to these people and they would be saying stuff like, yeah, Xbox's strategy, so confusing. I don't entirely agree with it. What's going on? Never in a million years would they tell me, a YouTuber, stuff like that. This video is brought to you by Manscaped. That is right. I am once again teaming up with Manscaped, the brand that over 10 million men across the world have entrusted their grooming needs to, including myself. And just when I thought that my personal Manscaped arsenal couldn't get any better, they went and gave me the upgrade I never knew I needed. The Lawnmower 5.0. Now, Ray, what? You've talked about the Lawnmower 5.0 before. How can you improve? How can you upgrade what is already a top-tier male grooming experience? Well, for one, you can make it look 10 times cooler. That is right. Manscaped went and dropped legendary loot on us, y'all, and they made it gold. This is the limited edition Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra Gold. It features all of the same tech that we've come to know and love from Manscaped's lawnmower products. Longer, wider, and rounded teeth on the trimmer blade, so you can get through manly. Super easy, but also smoothly. And just like the regular Lawnmower 5.0, you can pop the blade off and put on the foil blade for an even closer shave. It's got an LED light, so you can do your shaving in the dark. You have the travel lock, so you can make sure that it doesn't go off on your luggage and cause a scene. I'm a simple man. I see gold, I see shiny, and I like it. So if you want to level up your grooming game all the way to the gold tier, you can go on over to manscaped.com and use my code XboxReady for 20% off and free international shipping. This is a limited run, so it's going to be a collector's item at some point. Thanks again to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. You have to understand that people who are actively working on Xbox games or their other projects, they are tied up in a million NDAs, which if they break, they could face severe consequences. And that's why when you hear your favorite insiders or YouTubers or content creators, when you hear them talk about, oh, I know someone at X Studio or X...
That's why I hate making deals. If I ever make any content like this, it's going out for free. Because I don't want to make any deals. If people want to pay me money for it, they can just send me some money, however much they want. Which, by the way, if you want to send me some money, I got a PayPal down in the description.
Publisher, and this is what they have to say. 99% of the time, they will not mention a name. They will be intentionally super vague about it. So maybe, yes, Xtasis did talk to several Microsoft employees about Xbox's strategy. But what exactly those Microsoft employees do, what they contribute to Xbox, if anything, how much they know personally, it remains up in the air. In my experience, maybe it's just like that because the majority of the people I know that work at Xbox are either developers or they are PR people. What Xtasis is saying, though, really isn't that much of a stretch. Chances are, if you are working for Microsoft, especially in their gaming division, you probably have a lot of anxiety right now because you're going to bed every night wondering if you're going to wake up and have a job in the morning. And that seems to be a general shared feeling between people who are working as developers or working in games at all. Microsoft is laying off a bunch of people in their gaming division. Sure, there's a bunch of people in the games industry that's doing the same thing, but with Microsoft, it seems like they're doing it every couple of months. And in regards
I had no idea Perfect Dark was coming out.
the same thing. But with
Fable has an uglified character.
Microsoft, it seems like they're doing it every
Perfect Dark, uglified character. This looks like like a non-binary person. I don't even want to say it. See how hard it was for me to say non-binary.
couple of months. And in regards to what he's saying about pushing Game Pass, making it a priority, growing the numbers because it's stagnant, well, we know to some degree that's also true. The Wall Street Journal recently just did a new video saying that the console wars are over, but Xbox is continuing to refine things and change the games industry. And in the video, they used data where they showed that Xbox Series X and S sales are well below half of the total sales for PS5. They're even lower at this point than they were in the Xbox One generation. And they also cover how Game Pass subscriptions have plateaued, especially on the console side. They painfully remind us that in 2022, they had a target growth rate of 73% for Game Pass and only managed about 28%. So yes, while there's a lot of cool stuff and a lot of areas of growth for Xbox, a lot of potential, still a lot of question marks. And even if you can't technically say anything as an employee, doesn't mean you're also not thinking it. Now, whether or not what Extasis is saying is true and there's inner turmoil going on at Microsoft and Xbox, there's anxiety, even if it's not true, it doesn't take away from the fact that a lot of people are genuinely confused about what Xbox is doing right now and what their goals are. A lot of people were under the assumption that Indiana Jones was going to be an Xbox exclusive, only for them to turn around and say, oh no, there's going to be a PlayStation 5 version as well. They have made the commitment, at least through next generation, to have Xbox consoles, to have hardware. And then they go on this whole marketing campaign of like, oh, play Xbox games without a console. This is our new big.
They just added, not just, but like within the past couple years, added Game Pass and the Xbox Game Hub to Samsung TVs. I have Xbox on my TV, and it works just as well as the Xbox in my roommate's bedroom. That's why I'm saying I think that it's going the way of streaming. I think that Xbox is not going to be around much longer. There might be an Xbox, but it's going to be a low-powered system that is probably going to be streaming your graphics from the internet or using AI.
Thing with the Amazon Fire Stick. I do personally think that Xbox needs to be more transparent with us, more straight up with us. And to a certain degree, I think they're trying to do that to the best of their ability. But every time they come out, it's always some variation of a certain phrase that they have just absolutely loved over the past couple of years. Oh, everything that we do is to ensure the future success of Xbox, or to ensure future growth of Xbox, to continue to be able to provide great experiences. And while that's all well and good, the specifics on like which game is going to PlayStation and which game is staying.
Am I the only one who thinks that Indiana Jones does not look good? Because I think he kind of looks like he's moving like this. You know? Let's see that again.
Well and good, the specifics on like which game is going to PlayStation and which game is staying exclusive.
Yeah, you see that?
Sometimes they do
How it's like almost like his hand has a path.
a little dancey dance around those kind of questions. I will commend them on being transparent and active and trying to solve an issue that players have been running into over the past couple of weeks since the August update. After the August update rolled out, there was a couple of issues. Some people weren't able to play games online. Some people would put in backwards compatible supported discs from Xbox One or the 360, and they were getting an error message saying this content couldn't be retrieved at this point. As part of a recent insider update, they did acknowledge that there was a problem and that there was a fix for the issue. But people are still running into that same icon, that little disc that says this content can't be retrieved. So I can only assume that this fix that they're referring to in these patch notes hasn't been.
I know a fix. It's called buy a modded Xbox, and you have every game ever made for the Xbox 360 and the Xbox, and you don't have to worry about backwards compatibility issues because that shit's been patched. Not by Microsoft.
Rolled out to everyone yet. This is a problem that developer Oscar K acknowledged on Reset Era. A couple weeks ago, he said, update, we have identified the issue. It is a UX regression in the August update that causes disks with minimal metadata, such as 360 disks, to accidentally throw an exception and be treated as unsupported disks. The underlying installation, activation, and licensing systems are unaffected, so there are a couple of workarounds. If you're still having this issue, here are those workarounds. Enabling autoplay, going to your settings, finding the disk section, and making sure autoplay is checked. You can also apparently push the install from the Xbox mobile app. I'm gonna be real with y'all, neither of these fixes worked for me. I talked about in a previous video that my 360 copies of Skyrim and also Battlefield 4 weren't supported for some reason, even though they are backwards compatible in that library. I was hoping that these fixes would solve the issue for me, but they didn't. It's not the end of the world because, well, I do still have my 360. I can easily play them on there, but it looks
You can also mod your Xbox, and you don't have to worry about it. You get everything.
like I'm gonna have to give up on the dream.
These companies are garbage because they can do these things. They're just super greedy. They're just evil and greedy. And you have to do it yourself.
Of using those discs on my Series X. In other news, Overwatch 2 is coming to Game Pass, and I know that is very confusing because, well, Overwatch 2 is free to play. You do not need a Game Pass subscription to play Overwatch 2.
But now it's in the library and people can see it in the library that they go to. Most people that I know that use Game Pass barely go to the Microsoft Store to see the other free games that are on the Microsoft Store.
So what's it doing in the catalog? Well, Blizzard made an announcement that if you are a Game Pass subscriber and you link your Xbox and your Battle.net accounts, then starting on September 17th, you'll get access to all sorts of new skins and cosmetics and a bunch of prisms, which you can then use to buy more skins and other cosmetics. Specifically, you'll get Cardboard Reinhardt, Turtle Ship Diva, Cyber Dragon Hanzo, Street Runner Genji, Bee Mercy, and Cleric Lifeweaver. You'll also get access to any Overwatch 2 shop cosmetics from the past 3 seasons. And finally, you'll also get a 10% experience boost to help with your progression if you've been out of the game for a while or you've never tried it. Now, I know Overwatch 2 people have mixed feelings about it, especially since it became Overwatch 2. I'm in the camp of people where, and you know, I don't think it was a great move to just completely delete Overwatch 1 from existence and replace it with Overwatch 2. I also do find myself missing 6v6.
Never played it, not my thing. I'm probably never gonna play it. Seems gay. It looks gay. It's got that gay look to it that everybody tries to copy.
6 versus the 5v5 we have now. If you want to play any of the cool, fun DPS characters, the queuing system can be a nightmare too. But even so, Overwatch holds a special place in my heart still.
By the way, if you don't know me, and you hear me say that I don't like gay stuff, it is the pandering stuff, the pandering to gays that I don't like. Gay people and gay people's stuff, fine. It's fine with me. I even love that stuff. It's just literally when companies pander that I do not like it.
This was my game back in like 2017, 2018. And even now when I play it, I may not be up to date on the current meta and the best characters and all that, but I still do have fun. And even when games come out that are supposed to be an Overwatch killer, people still choose to play Overwatch. I mean, that's a common thing that happens with these popular live service games. People have a love-hate relationship with them. And it is cool that we are seeing additional perks from this Activision Blizzard acquisition as Game Pass subscribers. Finally, I'll end the video with something that you may or may not care about, depending on whether or not you like games published by Annapurna Interactive. These are the guys behind 12 Minutes, Stray, The Artful Escape, Outer Wilds, Neon White, another really awesome game. A lot of their games have appeared on Game Pass. That's how I tried them out. And while they may not be for everyone, a lot of their games I really enjoyed. That's why I was sad to hear that every single employee that worked at Annapurna Interactive, including their president, resigned. They just walked out. Apparently they were trying to negotiate so they could break off from their parent company and just be an independent studio. And when negotiations went south, they were like, you know what? it, we're just gonna leave. Annapurna will retain the rights to all of those games, and this collaboration that they're currently doing with Remedy, apparently this walkout is not gonna affect anything going on with Alan Wake
Why
or
is this-
Control. A spokesperson has already shared some details about that. They said Remedy's deal for Control 2, including Alan Wake and Control AV rights, is with Annapurna Pictures, and we are self-publishing Control 2. This is crazy to me. Number one, because, well, I do like their games. Number two, as we've discussed on the channel before, this is a very dangerous time to be working in games. People are losing their jobs left and right. Microsoft just fired 650 people. So it's just wild to me that people would just up and leave their job in an environment where people would be begging for a job like that. Now, of course, I don't know the details of what went on, why people walked out, and if the working conditions were really truly that terrible, then by all means, don't take that shit and quit your job, walk out. I'm really interested to hear more details about what exactly happened, because that has got to be the most extreme response that you could possibly have. Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you made it this far into the video, consider subscribing. Help me on my journey to 200,000 subs. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
I like Xbox Ready. I'm subscribed to him, just not on this channel. Decided to subscribe to him. Subscribe to this guy, give him a like. This guy's awesome. I love this channel. You'd think that it'd be about like he'd be an Xbox shill because it's Xbox Ready, but he's not. He bitches about Xbox a lot, and I like it. And I don't see Xbox being around in 15, 20 years. At least not in the same way that they are now. I don't see Microsoft being a giant leading company the way they are now in 15, 20 years. I think that they're gonna lose. I think they're gonna lose to better operating systems, better companies that are doing the exact same things that they are, just not evil or as evil. All right, let's get one more going. One more going. Might as well be new video from Sunny V2 to break away from the gaming content for a little bit. Coco Melon, the most evil channel on YouTube.
My son is almost...
Let me go to 1080-60 real quick. YouTube likes to say that it's automatically on 1080-60, and then it's not.
My son is almost 2 and I've been letting him watch Cocomelon, but now I had to get him speech therapy so I can get him to talk. There are hundreds and hundreds...
That might be because your kid was on the tablet looking at the colors and listening to the sounds and not actually listening to what the sounds were sounding like. They just hear the noises. And you're not actually interacting with the kid and talking with the kid. The kid's just...
Hundreds of anecdotes in which parents mention the exact same problem. The Cocomelon show is so insanely addictive, it's being compared to nicotine and causing developmental issues amongst the kids who can't stop watching. Children's TV expert Jerica Sands calls it the most damaging show a child can watch, explaining the sneaky ways in which they make the show addictive. Firstly, there's the colors. Take for example the wheels on the bus. The three main colors, blue, green and yellow, are all at maximum saturation, meaning they cannot be made any brighter no matter how hard you try. Extreme saturation is normally used for alerts and notifications, as it's exciting, dynamic and attracts attention, which is why it's also used in slot machines. Cocomelon puts these colors in perfect contrast, making them appear even more vibrant, which is different to, for example, Bluey, in which the colors instead blend together. Cocomelon's also different because it's highly repetitive. There's a reason they have 38 videos with over 1 billion views. A child's brain is wired to learn through repetition, so it feels right to them to watch the same thing over and over again. Cocomelon abuses this in almost every video. For example, in the Yes Yes Playground song, they pick a word to repeat 3 times in every sentence, pairing it with a subtly repeating background lullaby, keeping children hooked. Literally no show or movie puts my son into a deep trance the way Cocomelon does. The second it's on the TV, he turns into a toddler zombie who doesn't see or hear anything else that's going on in the room.
That sounds like a fucking horror movie, dude. Like, you need to curate the content that your kid's watching. Don't just let them go free. Like, you watch the content first, and then let your kid watch it. And I honestly think that you shouldn't be letting your kid watch content made for kids. I didn't watch made for kids content. I turned out alright. I was watching shit like Dragon Ball Z.
This is only exacerbated by Cocomelon's subtitles, which have also been a heavy point of criticism. The letters are not educational, I can barely read them fast enough. It's simply another interesting element to capture your little one's attention. Cocomelon explains in every description, our goal is to help make learning a fun and enjoyable experience for kids, giving you the peace of mind that your children
What are they learning,
receiving
though?
quality educational content. But people have argued that they're teaching exactly what children shouldn't do. For example, in the No No Bedtime song, the baby refuses to brush his teeth, have a bath, put on pajamas, or get in bed. The education is that he eventually agrees to do so, yet a TikTok user was critical.
You can easily figure out how to do this correctly. Like, have 2 kids. One of them not taking a bath, one of them is. The one who not taking a bath is way worse off than the one who took the bath. It's a pretty simple concept.
Stating, anytime I'd ask my son to do a simple task, he'd say no, no, no. He's sitting there watching Cocomelon, which taught him no, 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 and to say no to me. On the topic of education, Jerica-san stated, these people don't give a shit about our children. They care about money. That's it. Your child's cognitive development in direct exchange for their wealth, and there's pretty good evidence supporting this. A New York Times journalist visited Cocomelon's studio, discovering
How are they making money now? I'm pretty sure kids' content can't make money on YouTube anymore.
their number one focus is keeping children hooked. Cocomelon's data and analytics team sifts constantly through YouTube numbers to determine exactly what resonates. Should a girl wear black jeans or blue jeans? Should the music be louder or softer? Should the bus be yellow or red? Yellow is the answer, as they use a darker method to ensure that they're correct. Cocomelon has a dedicated Distractatron room, in which once a month children are brought here one at a time and shown a handful of episodes to figure out exactly which parts of the shows are engaging and which are tuned out. Next to the TV
That is some crazy Black Mirror shit, man. Holy shit, what? What? Yo. A Distractatron room?
playing Cocomelon, there's a second screen which plays a continuous loop of banal real-world scenes. A guy pouring a cup of coffee, someone getting a haircut, each lasting about 20 seconds. Whenever a youngster looks away from the Moonbug show to glimpse the Distractatron, a note is jotted down. We can see what they're looking at and the exact moment when they got distracted.
Dude, that is
Therefore,
actually
education
evil.
clearly isn't the primary goal. Keeping kids' attention is, and this is proven by Cocomelon's most addictive element, rapid camera cutting. It's crazy how many times the frame changes on Cocomelon. It's the same type of addicting behavior that we experience on a TikTok binge. It's the quick change of frame that releases that dopamine and makes the videos addicting to watch. Count the seconds.
I'm the opposite, man. I hate it when there's a whole bunch of cuts. I like some cuts, and I do like the jump cuts. I don't like it when it's like every shot is everything, every sentence you say is a different cut.
Between a change of frame. Well, TikToker the Circus Brain did exactly this. He firstly counts the changes on My Little Pony, concluding there's about 6 seconds between each cut. He then compares it to Cocomelon.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, two, one.
In her video, The Nightmare That Is Cocomelon, Savantix draws a similar conclusion. She found that 96% of the shots in Baby Shark were shorter than 2 seconds. She then compares 4 different animated shows, again finding Cocomelon has the shorter shots.
The longest shot on a Cocomelon video was 6 seconds. The longest shot on Arcane was 8 seconds. The longest shot on Bluey was 27 seconds. And the longest shot on Encanto was 18 seconds.
Which, when combined with every other element, creates some terrifying statistics. Dr. Kristen Summer explained that when showing an infant normal video content, they'll focus on the screen just 11% of the time. However, when the video is instead switched to Cocomelon, their screen engagement skyrockets to a whopping 74%. This therefore produces stories such as this. I used to volunteer for a preschool and they had song time. A Cocomelon video came on and all of the tots stopped what they were doing, put down their cheese crackers, and remained fixated on the screen for the duration of the video. It was honestly kind of terrifying. YouTuber Saberspark shared his own personal anecdote. He asked to watch a Disney movie with his 2 younger cousins, who both completely refused, and instead spent all day glued to an iPad playing the addictive show. In Cocomelon Made My Kid a Zombie, a mother talks about her son. He would be in a daze while watching it. You could be waving your hand right in front of his face, and he wouldn't move. It was almost scary. This was also discovered by Sarah Mills 98, who explained when the Cocomelon addiction is so real that my 1-year-old can navigate the TV to turn it on by himself. However, nothing shows the addiction better than the Cocomelon TikTok trend. Parents will play the show's intro loudly.
Bro, are we? What year is it? What year is this? Is this 1984? Are we in 1984?
And video their kids sprinting toward the television, where you can witness their mood change instantly. The New York Times journalist found something similar. The kid in the Distractotron had shown up in the midst of a tantrum, which ended the second he heard the Cocomelon theme song. It was no surprise to Wheeler, the head of research. 99% of kids, he said, if they're having issues when they get here, once that Cocomelon song comes on, they're like, life is okay, all is good with the world.
Cocomelon is happy pills.
Obviously, there's a reason for this. Cocomelon is so hyperstimulating that it actually acts as a drug, and what happens when you take the drug away. Young children experiencing symptoms of addiction and withdrawal, obviously leaving them completely dysregulated. TikTok user ThePoff1 filmed what happens when you take the show away, explaining he'll be inconsolable for at least 10 to 15 mins after, adding in the description, Cocomelon meltdown is legit. Once you have a taste of the cocoa, it's hard to break the addiction, which this Reddit user had
I still see people showing their kids Cocomelon and letting their kids watch stuff like Cocomelon, and I'm like, dude, are you not paying attention, or do you just not fucking care?
Experienced even worse. My husband and I have been worried about our child. I can slowly see how she'd throw violent tantrums at home and in church whenever she'd get bored and would want to watch the show.
So don't let your kid watch the show. Holy shit, are these people retarded?
Her behavior changes the moment she watches the show, and she will not even eat her meals if she wouldn't watch it. After these tantrums end, kids can experience a general discomfort in the speed of everyday life. The more they watch the show, the more their brain begins to expect this intense level of stimulation.
Basically, Cocomelon overstimulates their brains so much that everything else just seems slow and boring in comparison.
However, the potential consequences get much worse than this. As mentioned at the start, it was the cause of a child's speaking problems, with a notable reply reading, "Same thing happened with my daughter too. She's 4 but can't speak properly. She knows the words, but she does not like to frame the sentence or speech. She has been watching these Cocomelons or such other stuffs for 2 or 3 years. Hope we're not too late." Over on Reddit, a speech
How do you let your kid watch Cocomelon for that long? Knowing that it's causing problems? Oh, I know how. Because you don't care. And you're wanting time to yourself. Because you're selfish. You piece of shit. You shouldn't have had a child if you're not gonna fucking watch it. I'm sorry. Oh, I don't like people. Parents are stupid.
Speech language pathologist explained, screen time in general is linked with speech delays for a variety of reasons, but Cocomelon is excessively bad. Firstly, unlike other TV shows or movies, it doesn't have a story. It's just very short clips with poorly written songs.
And there's no morals being taught. And there's no, like, work being shown. Not showing you how to do things other than, like, you have to take a bath. No, no, no. I don't want to take a bath. That's what it's teaching you. And I don't know, what is it teaching? Does it actually teach anything other than behaviors? And apparently it's doing the opposite of what people are wanting it to do. I mean, people actually just want it to distract their kid. They don't care what it does other than that.
The kids aren't able to follow the plot, learn vocabulary, and see the resolution of a conflict, supported by infant specialist Meg Fora.
And the problem with fast-paced TV programs is that we find that little one's language development is slower.
On the Agents of Speech YouTube channel, this is again confirmed.
The main problem with watching videos on the internet is that they don't know how to use the language that they learn.
But he adds that 4 to 5 hours of screen time per day can make a toddler completely non-verbal. 4 to 5 hours is obviously a lot of time, but in Cocomelon Made My Kid a Zombie, researchers discovered that 5-year-olds who watch more than 2 hours of TV a day tended to have lower attention spans and were 7.7 times more likely to show symptoms of ADHD. These screen times might be even lower for Cocomelon specifically because, as explained by Jerica Sands, not all screen time is created equal. A child who just watched 30 minutes of Cocomelon and a child who just watched 30 minutes of Trash Truck will look like a very, very different child. Thankfully, here lies a simple solution. Sierra Renee explained, my 2-year-old is speech delayed and addicted to Cocomelon. Switched to Miss Rachel 2 days ago, and he's already saying more words and hasn't had any tantrums. Kim.it shared an almost identical anecdote. My 8-month-old was obsessed with Cocomelon and having bad tantrums, so I cancelled Cocomelon and only let her watch Miss Rachel, and she said her first word within the first 3 days of watching. Clearly, parents are able to simply change the channel, but not before leaving Cocomelon a massive...
That's crazy that they just moved over to a different channel to distract their kid because, oh, it taught her to say her first word in 3 days. Bro, that's your fucking job. You're letting the TV... You don't even know this lady. You don't know... You're not watching the show. So you don't know what kind of crazy nonsense is being placed into your children's head subliminally. You have to teach them.
Amount of
They got
dislikes.
us.
They've
They
therefore
got
earned
us.
the title, the absurdly popular kid show parents hate, and Cocomelon has actually responded to the criticism that explain our shows are not intended to replace outdoor playtime or playdates. They have a place in children's entertainment time, and as with food, exercise, etc., it comes down to each parent
True.
to find the right and appropriate balance for their children.
That one part is true. That one part. It comes down to each parent to find the right and appropriate balance for their children. This shit should be illegal. It should be illegal to drive the attention spans of children absolutely wild. I don't care if it's up to the parents. If the parents don't know what the thing is doing, I don't think it's it's much their fault. They definitely should be not throwing their kids to a tablet and like, here, tablet, teach my kid because I don't want to. Because I'm lazy.
Our responsibility is ensuring that the quality of the content that we produce is high and beneficial for the development of a child's cognitive and soft skills. It is worth adding that our social media communities are filled with stories of parents who experience firsthand how Moonbug content helps their children. Cocomelon does have a crazy amount of supporters, but it's obvious that some of them are simply ignoring the downsides. My baby learned the alphabet and numbers from Cocomelon. She may not speak a complete sentence, but she expresses her wants through phrases. But is it Cocomelon's responsibility to ensure that babies are talking? Well, no. People love blaming cartoons and games for raising children, and not the shitty parents that don't step in to stop them from watching so much.
Agreed. Agreed. But also, cartoons should not be manipulative. because like the old Disney cartoons, for example, there were subliminal messaging. There was subliminal messaging in those cartoons. Parents would watch those, but they didn't catch it either. If you'd sit there and watch these shows that you're letting your kid just run away with on the tablet, you would realize this shit is brainwashing my child. All of it, all the content. Miss Rachel is doing it too. Miss Rachel is making kids gay.
Cocomelon is actually a really sad symbol of parents giving their children tablets instead of actually parenting and interacting with them. Ultimately, parents are the people who choose how much their child consumes.
Welcome back. Today we're breaking down.
Hey. That's not for right now. Don't automatically play the...
My son is almost...
Okay, whatever. Get out of here. Cocomelon should be illegal, and parents, don't give your kid a tablet at all. For any reason. Wait until they're like 16 before you give them any devices like that they can just run away with and use on their own. I mean, you can let them use some devices, sure. But like, don't let it be theirs. Don't let them have it for like 4 or 5 hours. Maybe 30 minutes of old Bill Nye the Science Guy or some shit. Like, what's that? A bunch of the PBS cartoons. What's the math one called? With the bird and the Gilbert Gottfried. It's a good one. I think that's where I'm gonna end today's video. So, if you want to support me, I've got a PayPal down there in the description. That'd help me a lot. There's a bunch of things that I need for this channel. I need a second PC for one, which I don't need all the money to buy a PC. I have all the parts. I just need a motherboard, and I need a PSU, and I will have a full second PC build, which that would only cost me like, what, $200? I can come up with $200, but it's gonna be difficult. You're awesome. Stay awesome.